Okay, here we go. Stand by. 3, 2, 1, action.
Assume nothing.
Brash, bald-faced blasphemy.
Question everything.
I find it extremely hard to imagine.
Open your eyes.
It is quite all right to be an atheist.
The fastest growing group of people in the country has been measured as being those who have no belief or who are atheists.
You don't have to be apologetic or quiet about it.
Challenge the opposition.
You see religion on 100 fronts losing the argument.
And start thinking. This is The Thinking Atheist Worldwide.
So I just got back from the Imagine No Religion 2 conference in Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada. I didn't schedule an official podcast, our normal Tuesday night show, because I knew I was going to be fried. It was 4 straight days nonstop, and I just didn't want to have to worry about it, to organize and implement a show. But now that the dust has begun to settle, and so many people have asked about the weekend, I thought maybe kind of an anecdotal show. No calls and no formal theme, just a sort of a reflection on what the event was like. And we got some great stories from the weekend. If you're looking for, phone calls and you're looking for a specific topic, we're dealing with something like deconversion or the Catholic Church or cults or religion and politics or any of that stuff, this is not your show. Trust me, I'll save you the time. Okay, this one's not for you. And I won't take it personally. I get it. I totally get it. But many people say that some of their favorite shows are just the anecdotal ones, where it's just a stream of consciousness, not a whole lot of prep. We're just talking about something, telling stories about something. It's something that they can listen to and relax and enjoy. They listen in their cars. They're listening while they're working. They're listening while they work out or do whatever. And if that's your thing, then this may be for you, because I really wish I could have just scooped you up and taken you with me. It was an amazing weekend. Bill Lidgerwood over at Imagine No Religion 2 actually dropped me an email last year. He had seen my presentation at the Oklahoma Free Thought Convention. He saw it on YouTube, and he asked me to be a part of the lineup. Now, I'm looking at the lineup, and I'm thinking, Lawrence Krauss is the keynote? And you want me? Are you kidding? P.Z. Myers? Dillahunty's going to be there? Are you kidding? Dr. Andy Thompson? And more? My first thought, obviously, and I told him this, is that I feel ill-qualified. I mean, all these PhD types, all these guys who regurgitate this database of information. I told him on stage, it's like, this is a rodeo, I'm the clown. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm able to communicate and tell a story, and I'm very comfortable on stage. And I think that's what Bill liked. I'm not a diploma. I'm one of those guys who's just an everyman, who came out of religion, who has a community, who can speak with experience about what at least I have seen in the free thought community. And he was so enthusiastic, and he said, "We want you, come on." So we booked the flight. Natalie and I hopped on a plane early Friday morning. It took us like 17 hours, I think, from the time we got up to finally landed. By the way, real fast. Look, I've never flown WestJet in my life, ever. But WestJet was the last half of our trek. It was Santa Ana to, in California, to Calgary, and from Calgary to Kamloops. I don't know what's in the water over at WestJet, but I love them. Great example. And those of you who, like me, have done a lot of, back in the day, when I was shooting video every weekend, I mean, we were on every airline, going to every city non-stop. We lived on a plane, in the rental cars, in the hotels. And you know what I'm talking about. I say that when you're looking for happy people, you're looking for big smiles and a feeling that you are really being cared for and taken care of. It's not all that common in the airline industry. There are a lot of people who enjoy their jobs. But I mean, I have I see, and I can imagine every day someone's flight's delayed, somebody's luggage is lost. It's bringing 250 people in, getting them on, getting them off, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I can see doing that for a long time. But the WestJet people, it reminded me a lot of Southwest Airlines, and I'm a big fan of Southwest. But these people were they were happy, and they really, really made you feel special. Here's what happened. Natalie and I, we had like 15, 20 minutes until our flight left for Calgary. We thought we had plenty of time. We were right down the concourse at the Starbucks. I'm craving coffee. I'm a big coffee guy. And so we're in line. We order the coffee. And of course, it's Starbucks. So it was like 2 coffees for freaking $12. I'm stupid like that. I get mine, but hers is not ready. And they're calling our names. Please arrive at gate 2 for final boarding. Holy crap! How did that happen? We've got 15 minutes. How can this be final boarding? So we panic. I don't want to miss this. It's our plane. So I said, baby, hang on. I'm going to run down to the gate and I'm going to tell them that we're here and not to move. I don't know if they probably wouldn't have held the plane for us, but don't move. We're coming. She's coming. She's just getting her coffee. So I rush down there. Natalie runs up the concourse, and she's not holding her coffee. I'm like, what happened to you? Well, I was afraid we'd miss the flight, and it just wasn't worth it. You paid for it, right? Yeah, we paid for it. And you just left it there? Well, I didn't know what else to do. So the gate attendant for WestJet hears us talking. And she said, what's your name, Natalie? What'd you order? And I don't know what she ordered. Some cold coffee, which is not coffee if it's cold, by the way. She goes, go ahead and board the plane. What row are you in? 22. All right. I will bring it to you. This lady from WestJet runs down the concourse to Starbucks while we board the plane. She runs down the concourse. She picks up Natalie's coffee, runs back, brings it onto the plane, and walks it 22 rows to the back to give it to us, with a big smile on her face. I was just stunned. I thought, is this Oz? Well, what do airlines do this? And don't get me wrong, I have the utmost amount of respect for people who work in the airline. I don't know that I could do it. It would almost be, in some ways, like working for the post office, where you're doing a lot of the same stuff over and over and over every single day. And you're dealing with people who are a little put out, right? They've been traveling all day. They're tired. They're weary. So if you are a flight attendant or you work in the airline industry, I'm not going after you, but you must know what I'm talking about, right? And depending on the airline, there have been some airlines, geez. It's like misery is our middle name should be their motto. And you ask for you ask if there's an earlier flight, or you have a question about a gate or whatever, and they look like they just want to jump across the counter and throttle you, and it's not because they hate you. I think honestly they just hate their lives. Meanwhile, this lady runs all the way down. Runs all the way back. And, all the way to and from, we got nothing but smiles and have a good time and laughter. And WestJet, whatever your business model is, it should be emulated everywhere. It should be to make people feel the way you made us feel for just those few moments. And, they had no idea I was going to be on a podcast in front of tens of thousands of people, and they'd get a free plug, right? They didn't know I was going to be doing that, because they just did it because it was something that, they just did. Anyway, I didn't mean to go off on that bunny trail, but it was just such a rare thing. Trust me, you've got to know what I'm talking about. Back when Northwest, I'm just going off. Back when Northwest was still around, Northwest Airlines, if there was a Church of Satan, it would have been Northwest Airlines. I never found anybody there happy. Pissy people. Put out all the time. Miserable. Oh, I'm done. So we're sitting right before our last leg. We're sitting at the Calgary airport in the gate waiting for the last hour-long flight to Kamloops. We're already fried. Eyes are red. It's been a long day. And this guy sits down right in front of us. He's probably mid-40s, upper 40s. He's got silver hair pulled back into a ponytail, and the ponytail's real skinny and goes all the way down his back. And he plops down right in front of us, and for some reason, we just started talking. I mean, there's not a shy bone in his body. Hell, I don't even remember his name. Where are you off to? And we said, we're going to Kamloops. And he goes, Kamloops? Oh, geez, that place is a shithole. right out of his mouth, right off the bat. Excuse me? Ah, geez, Kamloops. God, what are you going there for, man? Now, we had heard only good things about the place and the people. So we continued to talk to him. Oh, man. Well, he said, I'll tell you what's going to happen. We're going to get on the plane. Plane's going to go up for 20 minutes, and then it's going to tip and go right down. You get no time in the air, and it's going to be one of the most violently turbulent flights. I don't know what it is about this part of the country, but I'll tell you, you see these French fries I'm eating? It's going to be so turbulent that I'll bet you see them again. I'm going to throw them up all over the place. And now he's got a total straight face on it. He's total straight face. Natalie and I just stare at him. Oh, okay. And then you're going to land, and they have this paper factory there, this paper mill. Oh, the chemical smell. You're going to walk out and smell that smell. You're going to want to get right back on the plane and come right back here to Calgary. You're not going to want to stay. You're going to have the worst migraine headache you have ever had in your life after 48 hours in Kamloops. I can guarantee you that. Now we're getting nervous. Don't go out after dark either. I mean, you know, especially in any of the parks. You don't want to go out after dark. I mean, there was some event going on that weekend. No, it's crazy. I tell you, I hate that place. I hate it. All the reason I'm going back there is because we had a death in the family and we're having to worry about the estate. Now, there's two guys sitting behind him. They live in Kamloops. They were born there. And I guess they finally had enough. They just couldn't take it. This guy was totally tearing down their hometown. So they both stand up and they're like, what are you talking about? So they stand up, they walk around to where we are, they plop down next to us, and they and this guy get into like the Civil War about, no, we were born, it's the nicest place on the planet. People are friendly. Oh, no, it's a shithole. It's terrible. You don't want to go there. And so these guys just kind of have it out. Hop on the plane. By the way, he was wrong about everything. It was smooth like butter. We had a smooth flight. We got off the plane. The people were so wonderfully friendly to us. Friendly and sweet. And it was a joy. In fact, everyone we met in Kamloops was a joy. So this guy, he must have been just jacking with us, right? He saw some tourists and thought he'd get them all frothing at the mouth before they went. As a game. But I mean, he was so straight-faced. I thought maybe he really believes this stuff. Maybe he had a bad experience, or maybe not all of his dogs are barking, if you know what I mean. Bill and the conference organizers had a limousine pick us. It was me and like 4 other speakers all arrived at the same time. Had a limousine take us to the hotel. VIP treatment. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. That night, Matt Dillahunty and Christopher DiCarlo were taking the secular position in a debate against a couple of apologists. It's a Friday night debate. I think it was open to the public. Packed house in there. Now, I missed the debate because I got in too late. I talked to Matt a little bit about it. They went like an hour long, too. And I got the vibe he was frustrated. Because Matt is the host of the Atheist Experience, and he leads debates wherever he goes, or he just does them. And I don't think he and Chris had met. And I think Chris was taking the lead on this particular debate. And so Matt was just kind of hanging back. And I don't know if it was a personality thing or they would have taken different tacks or what have you, but I really got the vibe that he was about to come out of his chair the whole night. And I myself find most debates, not all, but most debates I find kind of tedious. It's mostly the same stuff. Where do you get your morals from? Is there an absolute standard for morality? If you're moral, you borrowed it from Christianity or whatever. And I think they pulled all the old hackneyed arguments out. And, you know, there were mixed reviews on the debate. It's not that the theists had very good content, but it just wasn't a stimulating kind of thing. And I really think you have 10 minutes for a response or for an opening argument, and then 5 minutes for a rebuttal, and then 60 seconds to respond. That kind of thing, very frustrating for me. Very frustrating. After the debate, we had a chance to go and meet and greet everybody. So they brought us into a ballroom. The thinking atheist community, well represented. These people came right up to me. We're hugging and we're talking and we're laughing and taking pictures. It was precious, precious people. Crashed at the hotel. And a busy day the next day. Matt Dillahunty on stage, he just did, I think, his speech almost completely off the cuff, talking about when and where to choose your battles and when it's time to be a diplomat, when it's time to just be a jerk. I got a chance to meet a young lady named Desiree Schell. She's the host of a show called Skeptically Speaking. Now, I'll admit I hadn't heard of her show before, but I guess she's syndicated across North America. And so I pledged to seek her out and listen to her show. Precious lady. And she's gutsy, too. She challenged the atheist community from the stage that presentation matters. Personality does matter. How you act, how you present yourself does matter. And I think it's important to do that. You know, so many people within the free thought community believe that because we are individuals and not sheep, because we are going to be true to ourselves, because I will not conform, I am not going to blend in, I'm going to be exactly who I am, even if I'm an asshole. They don't understand this does not help us. And I grow tired of that sometimes. Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to piss people off just because I'm going to get their attention. They're not going to be able to ignore me, and you're not going to tell me I need to be nicer or friendlier or more accessible or what have you. And first of all, they misunderstand that I'm thinking about being a nice guy as being weak, being soft. I mean, does anyone think I've compromised my principles? I'm a softie. I love people. At the same time, do you think I'm afraid to challenge? I mean, come on. If you love people, are you afraid to challenge what you see is wrong or incorrect or destructive or damaging or ridiculous? No. But you understand that the world is bigger than your own personal bubble. And the world is watching us. So how can we be most effective? Well, sometimes you do need to get in their face. Sometimes you got to do battle. Sometimes you can raise your voice. And sometimes you've got to take another tack to be most effective. And it takes a perceptive person to know when and where to do that. And we all get it wrong sometimes. But for Desiree to go up and challenge the free thought community and say, tactics matter. I thought that was gutsy. And I haven't heard her show yet, but I've pledged to go to her website and check it out. It is skepticallyspeaking.ca. Maybe if you want to go out and take a peek at it, you can certainly do so. I won't go down the list of all the speakers that were a part of the event. But another standout was a lady named Miriam Namazi. Gutsy talk about Islam and how it oppresses women. And, you know, I've seen something happen when we talk about Islam, at least on my pages, and I'm not sure why it happens. Here's an example. Christianity is my background, so I'm always talking about Christianity. It's the one fire in my belly. It's the thing that resonates with me. So I'll say something about Christianity, and everybody's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's atrocious. It's horrible. It's terrible. It should be defeated. Now, I talk about the Quran. I say something about Islam. For some reason, people are way anxious to deflect back to Christianity or Mormonism or Jehovah's Witness or Scientology. It's like they don't like going after Islam specifically. I'll say something about the Quran, how it talks about the infidel must be destroyed, blah, 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 citing the verses. And they will say, oh, yeah, well, the Old Testament's just as bad. I have no idea why they do that. It's not that they're incorrect. But when I talk about the Old Testament, I never hear someone say, oh, you think the Old Testament's bad? You should read the Quran. They never do that. The other thing I hear makes me crazy is you're just racist. Talking about Muslims, you're just a racist. All this racist talk just makes me uncomfortable. We're better than this. We're supposed to be above racism. And of course, I'm screaming at the computer. Islam is not a race. All colors, shapes, and sizes of people practice Islam. Islam is a belief system. If I have to hear the word racism one more time when talking about Islam, many people are just afraid. There are times when it gives me pause. You think about it. What are the consequences? Don't think about them quite the same way. With the other religions, there's something about Islam. Miriam Namazi, fearless. Fearless. She's the spokesperson for the One Law for All campaign against Sharia law in Britain. I guess they've got a real problem with kind of a rising Islamic tide in Britain. She's involved with an organization against women's discrimination in Iran and works very closely with Iran Solidarity, which she founded. She is a fierce warrior for women's rights, especially in the context of the Muslim faith. And she took the stage probably for 30 minutes. And I found myself admiring her and being a little bit ashamed of myself. And I told her, I saw her later. I walked up to her and I told her, I said, when I was sitting, she was up right after I was on stage. I said, when I was listening to you, I thought about all the times that I might have said something about Islam and did not. And I felt ashamed. Now, we do have to measure our actions again to make sure we're being effective and make sure that, we're ready. I mean, those of you who have not experienced threats from batshit crazy, Muslim extremists have no idea what I'm talking about, but they exist. And there she was, front and center, bam, bam, bam. And I said, you inspire me and you remind me that I should be bolder on this issue. And she gave me a big hug and she's like, do it. She was so encouraging. So encouraging. To be a woman speaking out on behalf of women against a culture that minimizes and controls and stifles, subjugates women. Just awesome. And a lot of that I just can't believe. We talked about that young lady in Saudi Arabia who encouraged women to all drive cars because they're not allowed to drive in many of those cultures. She showed a slide during her presentation. Did you know that for the stoning of women, there are legal parameters on the type and size of stone you are allowed to use? She put them on screen and showed us. The small pebbles you're not supposed to use because they're not as effective and they take too long to kill them. The larger stones kill them too quickly. No, you've got to use this size of stone. This kind of rock is the proper weapon for an official stoning. Example after example after example, and I found myself just chilled. It's not race. That's just barbarism. I don't understand cultures that try to keep women in a box. Women have so much to offer, They have so much to offer. They are the key, I think, to a healthy society. Why would you put them in in a cage? Why would you limit them? Why would you subjugate them? Why would you? I mean, I get it. I understand it. But to me, I just think it's just so primitive. When it was time for my speech, I don't really get nervous. I get a little bit of an adrenaline charge, and I get restless. The waiting, the last 15 minutes before I go on stage is always a little bit excruciating because I'm just ready to go. I'm ready to, don't make me wait. I don't want to think about it. I just want to go do it. The speech should, along with all the other ones, eventually be available on the Imagine No Religion 2 site. I think they're selling the discs. You can order the videos at Imagine No Religion 2. It's the number 2, ImagineNoReligion2.com, and then later he may make it available on YouTube or somewhere. And I felt like the speech went well. When I get up there, I tend to get in the zone. I'm doing the material, but I'm almost outside of myself. I don't know how else to explain it. And then 53 minutes later, the event is over and everyone applauds. And I have to go ask Natalie or whoever, how did that go? What did people engage? Did they enjoy it? Did they enjoy it? I really wanted them to, really wanted them to. And I have a pretty good feeling about it. After the fact, everybody seemed mostly positive, and there are probably a few things I'll fine-tune about that particular speech. Lawrence Krauss was the keynote speaker on Sunday. And I feel stupid after hearing his presentation. Right? Theoretical physicist, professor of physics, written a whole bunch of books, including his latest called The Universe from Nothing, which was the theme of his talk. Now, I can't really tell you about anything he said because he's going so deep and he talks so fast. And he did it all off the cuff, not one script anywhere. It's obvious he's given this presentation, or a kind of this presentation, a version of it, a bunch of times because he had his slides and graphics and everything all teed up, and he just did it off the cuff. Bam, bam, bam. But I'm reading the book now, A Universe from Nothing. When people say, well, how did something come from nothing? Well, Lawrence is challenging the very way we think about nothing. What is nothing? How do you qualify it? What is space comprised of or not comprised of? And as he was talking about these huge and thick and really detailed technical terms, these physics terms, do you think he would lose everybody, right? But no, they were on the edge of their seats. I really think they wanted him to go longer. He skipped over a couple of places because he was running late, and they're like, no, don't skip it. We want to hear it. We got time. It made me really, really, really interested in the book. I'm 3 chapters in, and I just opened it, just downloaded it to the Kindle, rather, and I'm just now going through it. But I really want to be able to read this and be able to hopefully digest A Universe from Nothing. And it was that night they had a dinner for the featured speakers and the people involved. We were at the hotel restaurant. I'm sitting there with Bill and his wife, Kathy. And on the end of the table is P.Z. Myers. I get a chance to talk to him and thank him for everything he does. I'm gushing, right? Because I love P.Z.'s blog. And he was one of the first online communities that posted any of my work. And I wanted to make sure and tell him how much I appreciated him, We're sitting here, and Miriam Namazi's to my right. Right across from me, Lawrence Krauss just plops right down. Freaking Lawrence Krauss is sitting right there in front of me. Natalie's on my left. Everybody else piles in, and we spend an hour and a half just telling stories. Just talking. I'm just hanging out with PZ and Lawrence Krauss like it's nothing. Dillahunty's at the other table. And, it was this wonderful, kind of weird moment. I actually looked at Natalie at one point and I said, I don't deserve to be at this table. And that's, don't send me emails and say, you should have more. It's not about that. It's not, I don't have a confidence problem. It was a joke. Okay, it's a joke. But on some level, I was thinking, I'm sitting across from Lawrence Krauss. You know, he's dropping everybody's name. Oh, yeah, Bill Shatner, William. I call him Bill, you know. Yeah, Captain Kirk, yeah. Oh, we know. I interviewed him once and blah, blah, blah. He's just throwing this stuff out. Yeah, we're working on a movie, you know, me and Dawkins, and we're doing this. And he's just done everything, and he's talking about it like it's nothing. Now we're shooting a film, maybe released to theaters. And I said to Natalie, I don't deserve to be at this table. Somebody made a mistake. We had a chance afterwards to sort of shake everybody's hand. We all stood together and had a group photograph taken. And I was again struck by, I think, how important it is for events like Imagine No Religion to take place. They started out the event with a John Lennon song, you know. And these people were hungry. You know, even the presenters were thriving. You know, it's like to get together and to be around people who get you. And, you know, PZ was so kind about the Center of All Things video that I showed. He even reposted it on his blog. And Dillahunty was talking about it, what a good feeling it is to see. And people love that guy. People love Dillahunty. There's a connection that he has with his people. And I would hope I have a similar version of it with the Thinking Atheist community. There's something family about us. It wasn't just well, he's a lecturer or she's a lecturer and is an expert, so we brought them in. There's another element. There's a deeper element, another layer to that. With us. I'm telling you, I gave more hugs and got more hugs. I mean, I'm signing stuff. One young couple came and they asked me, their teenage daughter listens to the show, so they flip their name tag out of their little lanyard and say, please sign this to our baby girl. So I signed it to her, and thank you so much. And we're all taking pictures and we're all sharing them and talking about, you know, the stories from our lives. It's like we already knew each other before we met. At the end of each day, my voice was shredded from all the talking and, you know, being heard over the din of the room, and you're trying to tell a story and you're laughing, and before you know it, you go back to the hotel and you feel like your voice is like this. My eyes were red all weekend. I don't know if it was the climate or what. I was trying not to look stoned. I had this thing, I thought, I really think it was the altitude or something, because from the time we freaking landed to the time we left, my eyes were bloodshot red. Last thing I wanted to be is videotaped on stage in front of 240 people, and my eyes are bloody. Was it sleep deprivation? I don't know. I'm doing the drops and trying to get that figured out. It cleared up as soon as we got back, by the way. As soon as we got back. Was it the paper mill? Maybe that guy was right about them chemicals. But, you know, despite the fact that you were going, it was a rush. And, you know, that's why when I'm going to be at the Oklahoma Free Thought Convention here and on the 23rd of June, I'm charged up about the opportunity to once again just be shoulder to shoulder with the community of skeptics and atheists and agnostic and secular human beings. We're going to do an event in Denver on Labor Day weekend for the Secular Student Alliance, and we're going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas, late October. And I'm telling you, it's like a breath of fresh air. You know, there's nothing like seeing these people's faces come out. And they're bringing their kids, and they're talking about how they escaped and why they escaped religion and what their lives are like and how the show helps them. Let me tell you, these people were talking about specific shows that I had done months and months and months, even years ago, videos I'd done back in, 2009? They're talking about that they were like, these things were a significant event and the turning point in their life. Do you know what that feels like? I was on the fence. I was questioning my religion. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing or thinking. And then I happened upon your video, The Story of Susie. And everything just clicked. And then I watched all your other videos. I couldn't stop smiling. I mean, I felt like, of all the things I wanted to accomplish when the thinkingatheist.com went online, and the Facebook page and the forum and all that stuff was, outside of providing a place for me so I wouldn't go crazy, so I could connect with other free thinkers, was to hopefully make the journey easier and or better for somebody else coming out of religion, to give them support. And so when I hear a specific instance where someone says, I heard this podcast about cults and I came from one, and it was so amazing to hear the stories of people who came out and how they put their lives together, and it gave me the strength to go on. I mean, wow. Tremendously gratifying and humbling moment. You know, it reminds me too that, that there's a tremendous amount of responsibility that comes with sort of being in the front chair in this community. I always tell people as a joke, my coda is try not to screw this up today. And I really want to not screw this up. I really want this to continue to flourish and be a place, a haven, where people can laugh and be themselves and post whatever they want on Facebook without having to worry about everybody else deriding them and insulting them and minimizing them and calling them devils. Where they can be understood, where they can be challenged, where they can put information up and have it challenged or accepted or whatever. I know I don't produce as many videos as I used to just because the hours in the day don't really allow me to. But I was looking back over the last 36 months, and I have a tremendous, despite they're far from perfect. In fact, a lot of the videos I'd like to go back and do a 2.0 version to update or fix. I want to go back and fix. And some of those I just may. There's creationist arguments, some stuff I'd like to revise and say better, and there's some other things I'd like to go back and say better and revise and update the information in. But overall, I look back and I think, man, and this is one guy who's been in the production room for freaking 3 years, almost nonstop. And it at times felt like that's not worth it. I'm burning out. I'm done. And then you see people say, I loved your story of Susie's video, and it changed how I thought about religion. And then, man, all bets are off. Now I've got the endorphin rush, man. I'm like, I'm going to produce something. I feel so good. It's like that dopamine rush is amazing. It's amazing. I guess maybe I use these events selfishly, and I think everybody does. We all go because we want to belong. We know we're part of a community. People often will ask, well, aren't these things just like church? These conferences? Look, I don't care what you say. Atheism is not a religion. What does non-stamp collectors say? Right? Atheism is a religion like not collecting stamps is a hobby. Like bald is a hair color. Like off is a TV channel, for Pete's sake. Conferences like this would not need to exist if religion had not had an open door for so long. Atheism is not a religion. It is a response, right? The activist atheism is a response. And events like this are necessary and important for two reasons. They do bring us together and give us a sense of community. And the second thing is I think the world is watching. Even the Christian Post, the week before the Imagine No Religion 2 event went up, had an article. Atheist event sells out in Kamloops, British Columbia. Yeah, the Christian Post ought to know about it. And so should the entire community. So should the online community. And other communities should be celebrating, and if they can, implementing similar events. Why not? Organizing and being a community, coming together in groups, being a part of a movement is not church. We don't worship a deity. We don't believe in a posthumous existence. Right? We are coming together in an arena where we can share ideas and implement an opposition to superstitious beliefs that have had carte blanche to be as vocal as they want for literally thousands of years. Now, I tell people, when's the last time you went to a hotel and there was a Richard Dawkins book in the dresser drawer? Never. There's a good chance, at least here in America, you'll find a Gideon Bible in there. When's the last time somebody knocked on your door and told you that there was no good news? No, but church people knock on doors all the time. Come join us. Here's a tract. Don't go to hell. How many non-religious, secular buildings, atheist churches or whatever, are erected in your hometowns? Come on. But at least where I'm from, there's a church on every block. At least one on every block. Come join us. We've got giveaways. We've got free coffee. We've got food. We've got games and activities for the kids. We've got church camp. When's the last time an atheist told you that you would be tortured forever if you didn't believe as we do? Never. I saw it even today on the comments pages of the YouTube page. Some theist comes in and I don't know why they feel the need to sort of do those YouTube comment section drive-bys, right? Come by, post a couple of times, and it's always something along the lines of, you misunderstand, you lack the leading and inspiration of the Holy Spirit, you took it out of context, you do not understand the Word of God, and I sure would hate to see you burn in hell. You see how they use that? Right? It's framed. It is cloaked in compassion. But it's a threat. Yeah, I hate to see you burn. Sure would hate to see you writhe in the inferno of hell forever and ever. Sure would hate to see that happen. Don't want to get this one wrong, mister. You see atheists do that? No. But I think we're more powerful as a group than we are as individuals. You know, it's like that metaphor, and I've used it in the past, where you take a single strand of cable and you pull and it snaps. But if you take many cables, many small cables, and you bind them, you wind them together to form a much larger, more strong, more stout, more durable cable, well, it's unbreakable, almost. And we are stronger in numbers. Doesn't mean we're conformist. It doesn't mean we're a church. It doesn't mean that we are sheep. In fact, even at the atheist communities, people are using their brains. During the question and answer session, after each speech, they're going up and asking often hard questions, challenging. They are thinking. They're not just simply receiving the word. Hell, these people take pride. It's a point of pride for them that they think for themselves. You want proof of that? Let me post something on my pages that is inaccurate or unsubstantiated. If I get something wrong, these people are all over me. A great example was my video, You Can't Trust Science. In the video, in the original version of the video, I was talking about when people first believed that the earth was flat. And we then got better information. Realized the evidence tells us the earth is not flat. Well, in the first incarnation of the video, I said the earth is a sphere. Now, an avalanche of email came to me. And the YouTube comment section exploded. And the Earth is not a sphere. It is an oblate spheroid. The skeptical community saw an inaccuracy, or at least something that was not exactly correct, and they let me know about it, right? I was just making a generalization. Well, that's my first mistake. Huge mistake. So much input that I immediately went back and I fixed it. It was new enough I could actually fix it on the fly. That's what the skeptical community is about. You think these people are going to Sunday sermon and simply sponging up everything being spoon-fed to them? That's bogus. Look, I've been to church. I've lived in church. I've seen the difference. I'm so thankful that we can get together. And you know what? The more I see events like this, the more I think, let people come and let them get bigger and better. And let the news stations, the television stations, the newspapers, the online blogs, let the media see them coming. Let them continue to see the rising tide of skepticism. After the Reason Rally, we should have gotten more press for the Reason Rally, but at least we got some attention out there, and people saw 20 to 30,000 human beings come out in the cold rain to celebrate reason. Yes, it's good for us to come together as a group and make a statement. I'm not sure exactly how many of these events I'll be able to participate in every year. I'm always privileged to be asked, and I'll always, whenever I can, try to be a part of them. And a lot of it depends on my family, my job, my schedule. I mean, I have a full-time job. I've got responsibilities, taking vacation time. And the truth is, even when they pay your expenses, they don't cover all your expenses. I mean, there are always incidentals. Geez, airport food alone, So it's money out of my pocket, it's time, it's vacation time away from my family, all that stuff. But, at the same time, as much as I can, I'm going to try to continue and be a part of these types of things. Geez, even in attendance. I've never been to TAM, the amazing meeting. I got to go to TAM. Skepticon, never been. Love to attend. I'm going to try to go. I'm not even aware of a lot of them, And at least 4 or 5 times a year, it'd be nice to be a part of something like this. And if you get the opportunity to either attend or organize one, look into it. Don't let someone minimize you because it is a gathering. It is church. It is not church. It is a celebration of science and reason and secular values in an incredibly religious country, at least here in the States. And it has merit. It has merit. And trust me, the presenters and speakers quite often get as much a charge out of being there as you get of asking them. It's a tremendous privilege. Anyway, I want to thank Bill and Kathy and the organizers of Imagine No Religion 2, the Center for Inquiry, the Atheist Alliance International, all the folks who took the stage, who were so many much more qualified than I was to be there. And mostly I want to thank everybody who came up and just said words of kindness and gratitude, and who, put their arms around me and reminded me of literally of the thousands of people in this community who benefit every day. It's exactly what I wanted the Thinking Atheist community to be. In some ways, a family where we get to know each other and support each other. It's been 48 minutes. I don't know if this was an entertaining show for you or if you've already gone and I'm talking to myself. But I wanted to kind of recap the event for you. And I hope we get a chance perhaps to meet at a future event somewhere along the road. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.
Follow The Thinking Atheist on Facebook and Twitter. Watch dozens of original videos on the Thinking Atheist YouTube channel. And visit our website for resources, links, contact information, the editor's blog, and more. thethinkingatheist.com.